about sustainability here in Curitiba, and every project we start thinking about the nature base of the lot, of the plot, the place. This is something that Jaime used to do, and we do till now. We cannot start a project without thinking about that, because the nature is here and we are coming later. So the nature is here first.
Even the house. The house is, my father was a student at the time that he bought the land. He was newlywed, so he didn't have money to transfer, to make it the plot here, the
Plain. Make it plain.
make it plain. So the design of the house is based on the lot. That's why we have those curves, because the terrain was like this.
So it looks like the modernist architecture, because I have seen this type of architecture in, for example, Frank Gehry. Frank Gehry built his house in New York. It was very, very similar to his. So wow, this is the masterpiece of Frank Gehry. I thought because I entered here, but it's your father. So great artist.
Yes. We are very proud of him.
This happens because one of the reasons is because Jaime, he was part of the first architecture team of Curitiba, and his professors were from São Paulo. And in São Paulo, it's very common to find modernist architecture. So he learned from them, maybe, and also from Conjunto.
Like in Brazilian architecture, like Oscar Niemeyer. Oscar Niemeyer is also
Very Jaime and Oscar Niemeyer, they work together. We're going to talk about the grand finale. So talking about the green areas of Curitiba. The main parks, the main green parks of our city, they were built to solve a problem. Our macro drainage problem and the problem of the water, what to do with the places that became very, how can I say, encharcados, alagados.
They would flood.
They would flood. We had a lot of areas that would flood after the rain, and people were living in those areas. So they started to develop, to take the people out of these places and develop green areas for people to gather around and to play and make sports. And this was a solution for our macro drainage in a bigger scale. We have a lot of parks that were built in this kind of way.
No, every big park that we have, there's a lake that can flood. Every big park that we have is intentionally like this to let water go wherever it wants. Not in the houses, but in the park. So there's plenty of room for the water to go up and then slowly go back. So this is Parque Barigui, the bigger one.
Yes. Where we have the capybara picture.
They are also our gardeners. They have they are registered as official workers of Curitiba.
There used to be lambs. There used to be lambs. Yes, the first gardeners that we have. There's so many parks. How we can take care of everything? So they put their lambs or sheep. Now it's capybaras. They are very trendy. It's very hype, the capybaras.
But there are more than 100 capybaras.
in the park of Baribu.
Wow.
Isn't it? Yeah, well, they're not a Russian phrase that was saying that.
Yeah.
But you won't get to see all of those at the same time because they take turns.
Yeah.
They hide and then they come. But
Yes.
usually when I go, I see some 20 of them.
And
You can. I mean, we recommend. No.
no.
They are because so many people come and visit the city. Gives them the vaccinations and everything, so they won't transmit any diseases. But they are not pets, so they may not feel like being pet at the time.
They are our very educated capybaras.
They even cross the
They are already used to have people around, but still they are animals and they are not. I don't know.
They are not pets.
Yeah.
But they know how to cross the street on
The line,
on the right place.
pedestrian line, pedestrian line. There's a picture of capybaras crossing just in Curitiba.
Just in Curitiba.
And the parks were also another thing that, like we said, everything that you see in Curitiba is multi-layered. The parks, when they started in the 70s, Curitiba was a very small city and a very, we're going to talk about this later, but it's good to introduce the subject. It was very Italians, Japanese, Polish, Koreans. Everybody has his own ghetto, and everybody has his own area in the city. In the 60s, in the 70s also. So my father was very worried about building an identity, not a Korean that lives in Curitiba, but a Curitibano that have a Korean background. So the parks were part of this strategy, because and Curitiba didn't have anything of leisure, nothing, no shopping, no cell phones, no much of theaters or movie houses. It was very, very poor in this area.
Actually, in the 70s, we had one public space that was Passeio Público.
Yeah,
Small park.
one park. Very, very not greeny. It was the zoo, but was very, very confined and very small and not green areas too. It was very streets that you walk on and see the animals. So the parks were leisure for everybody, and again, it's a social thing because it's a democratic way of bringing people out, and they start melting everybody and creating a similar, when you go to the park, you do the same thing. So you start building a memory, a collective memory, and a collective scenery. So you start building an identity of, we are Curitibanos, we go to this place, we walk around the lake. So we do the same thing. So it starts like this. So the parks were very important on the taking people out of the houses and bringing them out. My father used to say that the city is the scenery of encounter. You have to promote the encounters. People have to go to the theaters together, or to the parks together, or even the bus ride together.
At the moment, it was or it still is an important national holiday in Korea, right?
These days, yes. So,
I mentioned that because, like Ilana is saying, these kind of places and celebrations, they help to bring unity and share a common identity.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting this that Ilana is bringing up together, because before the 70s, Curitiba was a city without a personality. And with this several policies that were implemented and the creation of these spaces, we started to develop a shared identity which identifies us. And I think it's one of the reasons why these projects have lasted for so long, because I don't know if it's the same in Korea, but here in Brazil, every time we have a big political change, whoever comes next tries to leave behind whatever was done previously, and they try to reinvent the wheel and create their own stamp. And here, because of this collective sense of belonging is so strong, the mayors come, and they may come from whatever party they want, but they continue in the same direction, and that's very, very...
They know they have something important and very
it's ingrained.
Ingrained
It has
in
deep
everybody,
roots.
in every Curitibano, and in the way that the city works. You don't want to mess with this. You don't. Because it works.
They didn't perform was not elected in the last 50 years, I think.
And I am curious, the Paulista of São Paulo, I heard that they have a lot of pride of their city. Then the citizen of Curitiba also
Yes.
has the pride and kind of identity
But there's a big,
in Curitibano.
Yes.
but there's a big difference between Curitibanos and Paulistas. Paulistas love to complain about their city, and they tell to everybody that their city is unsolvable. We like to brag about our city, that it is perfect. Of course it's not. But
Yes. We live in a fairy tale. We like to tell everybody that this is so great. We know that we have problems like every big city has, but the way that people deal with the problems is different. The way that the team dealt with the problems in the 70s and the 80s and the beginning of the 90s was very different because it was integrated. And that's the biggest difference between, because everybody's trying to solve the traffic or the housing or this or that, and we are always thinking, or at least when we were there in the place that have the power to change things, they have this thinking about macro system and the integrative city. The city it's a whole thing. You cannot cut housing here, business there, leisure here, city hall, or you have to do everything together.
Yes, and the Urban Planning Institute of Curitiba is an institute very important in this kind of work. Maintaining, we used to say that they protect our urban planning, our director plan, because we can change the mayor, but the institute will protect always what we have planned for the future.
And this is not every city in Brazil that has an institute like this. It was, I think, the first one in the country that has an institute just thinking about planning and research.
And it just celebrated 60 years, which is very unusual.
So this is exactly what Marina is talking about. They are guardians of the structure of this whole, because the city planning is something very long. So you can do some detours because sometimes you need, but if you keep the big picture and the core of the plan, so this is the most important thing.
É só para não perder essa parte da conversa, tá? De continuidade essa parte. E você acha que então, tanto o governo municipal de Curitiba e os curitibanos realmente valorizam essa herança de Jaime Leruneru e esse instituto estão contribuindo para realmente manter essa continuidade das políticas urbanas?
I think there's a lot of people that don't know my father, the young people that lives in Curitiba, because this is 50 years ago. Everything that we're talking about just turned 50. The Fundação Cultural, the BRT, this streets, the parks, everything turns 50. So there's a lot of people that don't know him, and that's why we are here talking about his ideas and trying to bring this conversation and those ideas. But the plan is very well taken care by the mayors, by the IPUC, and of course everybody wants to put his mark. Every mayor, every person that sits in the city hall chair wants to put your stamp, but they know that some things are kind of sacred. You know, you don't, because it works. It's not because it's wow, oh no, you don't mess with this. Because it works, because it's still working. So this is ground that you don't change. This is, you know, this is causula petra.
For an example, last year the mayor he was starting to change the tube stations.
Yes.
And it was not a very good, the people would not like this because we like our tube stations. It's part of our identity. It's part of our city. We don't want it to change. We want it to improve, to get better, but not to change the design, because the design is a part of the city. It's something that you can only find it here in Curitiba. So this is one of a small example of this that Ilana was talking about. The people, we take care of our city because we have this sense that the city is ours.
Yeah. And for my father, this was very important, like we are talking about in this.
Yeah.
People are very responsible for the city planning. Because you have, the mayor cannot do everything by himself or with the team of workers. If the population knows what you are proposing, you have to propose something, and they have to understand, accept, and take by their hands. This project was exactly the contrary, because this was the principal shopping area of Curitiba, and the owners of the shops, my father wanted to do a pedestrian street, and the owners didn't like, because if the guy don't park in front of my store, they're not coming to buy in my store. And my father have a idea of this very strongly, and he built the first 2 blocks in a weekend, just to avoid your participation in the story. The law here, to stop
An injunction or something.
Yes. So people closed the shops on Friday nights. When they came back on Monday, it was already done. And my father said to the shoppers association, the business association, we build in 72 hours. To break it, it's 24. Try it. Let's try it. If you don't like, we're gonna take it out. So then they could understand, see, and be part of the thing, of the idea and the process.
Lawyer lost their job because of this.
And then they asked for more blocks, because it worked so well, because people liked to be walking down walking streets are very good. People like to go in a street where we don't have cars. So it was very successful, and then they spread to 3-4 blocks more. And when
1.5 kilometers more or less.
yeah, so this is it's very example of how you have to have the people with you in those big statements that you do to your city. It doesn't. You can govern in the pedestal. You have to be very close to what's going on in the city.
Jaime used to talk about the demonstration effect,
Yeah.
more or less like the tactical urbanism concept. And this is a very good example. He showed how it could be good, and then people asked for more. And this happened in a lot of other situations here in Curitiba and in our projects as well.
And for him to be part of the, walking in the city is a very, as we are tourists, we walk in every city that you go. You have to walk in your own city, you have to know your own city. So this was very important for him. This is a very good example of mixing uses of a place. This is a this is a historic center. So everything is kind of protected by laws. You cannot change the houses and everything. So sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes people that own these places, they are, I have a house, but I didn't want to have this house. I wanted to build something like 20 stores and get more money. So the city have to compensate people that loses the power to build in these situations, and they transfer the potential that they can build to another part of the city. And they did it also this in parks, families that have green areas. So instead of letting them destroy the green area to build a skyscraper or something, supermarket, they bought the land and they transfer the potential of building to another area where they wanted to get density. And this is Sunday morning. So we have a fair, handcrafts, market, very big. But this area at Saturday night, bars and people and music, and it's completely different. So this is young people in the Saturday night and families in the Sunday morning. So this is never empty. Brings light, brings people, brings security. There are a lot of restaurants here that opens in the weekends, weekdays also. Now this is the fair now. It was this. And now it's this, and then, there, and here.
This was a very clever way to solve and to give use to our historical neighborhood, to our historical area. Because in Brazil we have, in a lot of cities we have those big areas, big historical areas, that people don't know what to do with those areas because it's very expensive to maintain, to refurbish, to give some use to this kind of building. And in Curitiba it was developed and people were thinking about it like 50 years ago. So the problem was solved back in the past, and now we have of course we cannot compare Curitiba to Salvador, to Recife. Those cities are bigger and are older. But we solved it very well, this kind of area.
I taught for a semester at the University of Melbourne, at the Masters in Urban Design. And at the time there, they were talking about the Melbourne laneways and the activation of the downtown area. So this strategy of place activation is something that, as Marina was saying before, even before the words were thought, the strategy was already in place. And as Ilana mentioned, it does not solve every problem in the world, but it works for us.
So talking about urban architecture, we left it for the end of our talk. Here. So as we were explaining, urban aquacultures are small projects that can go in places that are changing, places that don't make sense anymore in our city. For an example, this theater, it was built in an old quarry. So the quarry wasn't used anymore, and Jaime had the idea to build a theater in there. Our Iron Theater is a unique kind of architecture. It's very beautiful. I think if you have time, you have to go there. It's a special place in our city. And in the other side of this quarry, we have what we call Pedreira Paulo Leminski. That is our bigger place for concerts and shows here in the city. And it's a cultural place. And it's an urban expansion because it was a place that no one would like to build there. It was it was left. People didn't know what to do, and they transformed this area in a cultural place. So, and this theater was built in 3 months. 3 months, so very fast. Jaime liked the things to go in a hurry.
He has a Korean blood.
No, this is out of any scale.
No. 3 months we don't even do the project. So very fast. And Jaime in front of the Oscar Niemeyer Museum, they worked together because Oscar Niemeyer designed this first area back here in the 60s. It was designed to be a school, but it didn't work very well as a school. And Jaime, when he was governor, he would think about this place as a museum. He knew this was a museum, but people didn't know it yet. And he invited Oscar Niemeyer to design another place and to turn this area in a real museum. So it was the first, or I think the only time that Niemeyer designed another thing in a previous project. Thank you. And now is our biggest museum of the city. It's one of the most important museums of Latin America, and it's for sure an urban acupuncture because it transformed the neighborhood, the area. People didn't want to go there, and now it's a place for the encounter, a place for people to meet each other. And not only the museum, but it's a place to be. And
There's even a park for dogs.
Yeah.
even a park. Yeah, I don't know if you have a picture. We don't have it, but here in another place of the museum, we have a place for dogs. People will go there to go around with their dogs. And
Not for cat. Yes, a cat.
Cat should stay at home. No person do not understand it.
I wouldn't go there with my cat.
Yeah,
It would be a problem.
For the dogs.
And the real estate people would start to build around this area because it became a very beautiful area. People want to live around the museum. Very nice. And bars and places, restaurants began to appear. It really was something that transformed this neighborhood.